With every scene of Apothecary Diaries that Shisui is in, she grows more and more suspicious. And I think I've pretty much cemented in my mind after this episode, episode 37, Shisui is Loulan. Ain't a doubt in my mind she's Loulan. For the longest time, I figured she was probably like a twin sister of Loulan or something like that. Somebody that she is secretly there, spying for Loulan, and she's currently looking into Mao Mao. But with a couple scenes in this episode, it's cemented. She's got to be Loulan. You have that whole scene where when Lishu first walks up, what does she do? She immediately turns and leaves. She immediately leaves the scene. Yes, it kind of covers it up that she's going over there to massage somebody else and she gets something out of it. And you have Xiaolan over here and she's all jealous. No, that's because she knew that Lishu would know who she is. And we don't see a scene after that where she's present. Even in the after scene when they get the chilled juice, she's not even there. Like, you would think because they're kind of a group and they're going everywhere with each other, like, Shisui brought them there. Why would she not go over there and have juice with them? It's just massive sus. She has to be Loulan, and she knows that if Lishu sees her, she'll immediately know who she is, and so she got out of there very quickly. I mean, on top of that, you just have the aspect that Shisui is constantly having to be guided by Xiaolan. Xiaolan seems much younger than her, but yet seems like she's kind of like guiding her like a child. Yes, the massive question mark is she just being that way because she's being silly? Like, this is her moment to actually have fun. She is doing Shisui as a route of getting out there and having fun. Because every shot that we have of Loulan, she's just sitting there. Just sitting there bored. And then suddenly she's being goofy and rambunctious. Is this her true self? Is she creating another persona? That's the big massive question mark that really kind of surrounds her character. But anyways, we'll get into that and so much more with this impressions of episode 37, Apothecary Diaries. Fantastic episode. I love the fact that even though I've seen the preview and I've seen, it's the onsen episode. It's the bath episode. Fan service, fun, goofy silliness, which there's a bunch of goofy silliness. I love the whole shampoo thing. But mixed in there's so much information. That's what I love. It's not a fluff episode. There was so much in here that we can dig into. I mean, tons of stuff around Lishu. My God, that girl breaks my heart every time I see her in the scene. But let's get into it proper. Yes, we did technically get a new OP. Really cool stuff there. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the song fitting the actual setting. It's a good song, but does it match? I mean, they've been like that with every single OP. Like, it just feels like they just throw whatever they want in there. But the visuals are fantastic. I love the first perspective shots of all these scenes that we've seen before. Going out with Xiaolan in the market, the scene with Shisui, grabbing the cat, all these different scenes that we've seen from an outer perspective now in first person was really cool. Yeah, even jumping off the waterfall. But anyways, yes, the episode opens up with a brief scene of some individuals being kind of checked in, which we kind of find out later. This seems to probably be the people that were from the West. These were different individuals, people in forced servitude that were brought over and sold over here. Now, yeah, it does kind of get into it later on that this might have been a military move. Like, there was a military move that happened and it released 30 of these individuals that were eunuchs. Yes, they don't technically have that happening in here more, so technically this should be people from the West. But yes, somebody's being brought in. And it cuts over to Loulan, and somebody walks up, whispers in her ear, and she says, "I see." It kind of gives me an indication here that she knows who came in. That she's being informed of probably the specific individual that was hurt, that came up, that's probably the handsome one. That she specifically is learning about this, which makes me believe that this individual might be tied in with Loulan in some way, obviously. Now, the question mark is how? Is this somebody that Loulan would have known that maybe have been caught up and sold into forced servitude, and then they got that list and they gave it to Loulan and said, "Hey, Loulan, that individual that you know back there that got caught or got put into this forced servitude has been released and they're here"? Or is it somebody that she's currently working with in the background that is going to exact something for her? I'm leaning towards the latter, and it kind of sucks because I do want to get more into Loulan, but I don't want her to be a bad guy. You don't want the characters to be bad guys, but I'm kind of wondering if this is an operative or something like that that has been slowly working in the background to eventually arrive in the palace with zero connection to her, and she might be informed now of that. We'll see. Which, yes, this kind of does lead me to that theory later on about the idea of her being Shisui and the idea that Shisui knows about all this. Right here, Loulan's getting this information. Later on, Shisui is divulging all that information. It's a military move, released a whole bunch of people. They're from the West. She knows all of this. She knows everything. And you can get it from gossip, I guess, but it's so matter of fact the way that she says it. It just sounds like she's way informed. But yes, we cut over to Mao Mao and Xiaolan, and they're walking about, and Xiaolan brings up the fact that her service is coming up, and she needs a place to work. No. No. My heart broke the moment I mean, it's nice that she's not going to be caught up in that stuff anymore. Her contract's done. She could do whatever she wants. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want my girl to leave. Like talk to Jinshi and get her a cool job in there. Get her a job with Yokyo or something like that. Don't let her leave. I don't want my girl leaving. That sucks. But yes, she's trying to find a place. And immediately, Mao thinks of the possibilities. And she has nothing. I like how the only options that Mao comes up with is, who would be able to recruit somebody right now that I know? I only know 2 people that would have the power to do that. The first one owns the Verdigris house. So I guess, yes, she doesn't have bad features. I mean, Xiaolan's pretty good looking. She's very charming. I mean, she would definitely fit there, but that's a last resort. That is a last resort. The old lady would love her. She'd be able to train her easy, but that's a last resort. Let's not do that. She did look very beautiful in that little getup, but yeah, no, no, don't. I was thinking because it was leading up to it and the idea that, yes, technically Xiaolan used to be the gossip girl. Everybody knows her. She's super charming, all that kind of stuff. But now it's kind of getting the idea that, yeah, now she is learning things. It's cool that she's now putting herself into learning, different math and whatnot. She wants to get smarter, and that'll help her find a really good job. Yes, this is not a common thing for somebody in her position to have the opportunity to learn. So I was kind of hoping that would lead into, I don't know, maybe doing the books at the madam's house. Maybe she could do the books for the madam. Not that she's going to be... Anyways, moving on. But yes, eventually Shisui shows up. And yeah, she knows some people. She could help her get connections, so they go to the bathhouse. Cute little scene here. I love this little opening segment of coming in there. Immediately, Shisui jumping right into the water, burning herself. And then again, Xiaolan sort of kind of correcting her. And it really did feel like the way that Shisui responded. Again, this whole scene, this whole opening right here, the suspiciousness just starts digging in my brain of the idea of like, okay, is Shisui being silly because she just wants to have fun? Is she Loulan and wanting to have fun? Or again, if she's her Loulan's sister, and she's been kind of stuck in that mold as well, along with Loulan. It's just Loulan was the one that was chosen in the end. Is she just wanting to have fun because she's never had fun before? Or is this an aspect that, yes, she's so prim and proper before, because she was raised in a prim and proper setting, that she doesn't know how to function around people? The latter one sounds a little weird here because it seems like she's been here for at least 6 months, so she would get a sense here. But 6 months for a lot of people to kind of kick habits is not very long. So it does sort of lead into the idea of Shisui being sort of oblivious to how to take care of herself. That she's always had other people taking care of her. And it does seem like when Xiaolan's up here and she's kind of correcting her, it feels like she's the prim and proper girl that's being told common sense stuff. Anyways, yeah, it does lead into the fact that Shisui's been hiding stuff. Shisui's been hiding a very, very beautiful body. And so Mao was like picking up on that and getting grabby faced. She looks like the girls from the Verdigris. She looks like the girls from the Verdigris house. Anyways, it's like a little habit that she apparently picked up with them. I don't know. But yeah, this shampoo scene was super cute. Seeing Xiaolan with her hair down, she looks so beautiful. But yeah, turning like a puppy. It's getting in her eyes. She doesn't know how to handle it. She starts shaking off like a puppy. It cuts over to Shisui, and she's just covered. She's just a bubble blob. That was way too freaking funny. I just got a kick out of that scene. Interesting, but kind of common knowledge here. The fact about the bathhouse themselves and how this one particularly can house a lot of them. Most baths are obviously going to be for high-ranking people, especially like their own personal baths. Like all the consorts is going to have their own personal bath in their palaces. Pretty much common stuff that you would assume. And yes, it was kind of interesting to kind of note the fact that Mao is sort of so used to using the Verdigris bath. So she never was like most commoners where they have to wipe themselves down. She just kind of found herself always using that bath. So it was kind of nice for her. Like that was kind of a nice idea that she got to enjoy when she was younger. And they also note the fact that, yes, Xiaolan didn't want to get in the bath, that she's so used to being, because she was from like a farming family or something like that. So she's not used to the bath, so she just wipes herself down. Very interesting. But yes, it all leads into how Shisui felt that they can make connections, and that is to do massages and whatnot for the different consorts. The different consorts that come into this particular area, they can do massages. Apparently they get free stuff from that. That's why she's been doing it, or other people have been doing it. And apparently, yes, a previous maid of this one consort had apparently been hired into their family. So it's a good way of getting a job outside of the palace, and so that's the connection that Xiaolan is looking for. So they start to work on that immediately. Mao Mao notices that they have a lot of hair, and she has a hair removing technique that she's learned. And so they start using that technique, and everybody seems to like it a lot. And again, Mao Mao noting several times, gosh, this girl's really smart. Like, I thought that she was just interested in insect, but this Shisui girl's actually very smart. Again, the tactic that she's utilizing here in order to make connections, get free stuff, all that kind of stuff. But yes, they need to keep doing this in order for Xiaolan to find her connections, so she has to get permission. So she has to go to Gyokyo and specifically Hongyang in order to get that permission. I love that, like, Gyokyo essentially kind of helping Mao Mao get what she wants. I mean, there is an aspect of it is, yes, learning rumors. This is a great way to get information, so yes, go do that. People's lips kind of loosen up when their muscles are loosened up from massage and whatnot, so they might say stuff. And then we do get into some of those things, which is, yes, that apparently everybody seems to already know that Gyokyo is pregnant. Like, that whole speculation is circulating. They already are speculating the date and the gender. That, yes, Lihua might possibly be pregnant too. So that rumor is going around already. And again, this is stuff that's probably very difficult to keep under wraps because essentially they go from wearing very tight and very beautiful and slim looking outfits to make themselves look more beautiful to, yes, a lot more looser clothes. And they're going to look a lot more bloated. It's something that you just really can't keep under wraps. And yes, there's also the aspect that in some cases, they start to lock themselves up more. Like they're kind of noting with Loulan. They kind of assume that Loulan might be pregnant because suddenly she's not coming out anymore. So even if you're trying to cover up the fact that you're using looser clothes by not coming out, that creates that suspicion as well. But yeah, that was the other rumor going around that apparently Loulan might be pregnant too. And I immediately went, uh-oh, alarm bells, alarm bells. Now, there's three sides of this. There's three possibilities here. The first is that she doesn't go out because she wants people to have the feeling that she is pregnant. She doesn't want to go out, and thus it will make it feel like she's still a part of this competition, so to speak. One could be that she's always hidden and hiding away because she's coming out as Shisui. She's not there. She's not coming out to the public. She's not being seen because she's not there. She's Shisui, and she's running around. But yeah, the third can be that she's technically pregnant. And she's trying to hide that. I don't think so because, and I might be misremembering here, but I seem to remember at some point they mentioned that the emperor does not want to touch her. That yes, she was brought in here as like this very prominent figure because of who her father was, but there was also an aspect that sort of created this idea that he never wanted to touch her. It'd be dangerous for him to touch her. And I can see that. I can see this being just a political move and the father doesn't necessarily want them to touch each other. That could be. But yeah, some of the rumors are actually saying that she's possibly wearing looser outfits too, which that is sort of interesting. And again, that could be what in here is truth and what's not is really question mark. But yeah, I love these moments where it suddenly kind of gives you an idea of how long this show has been, where it says it's been over 6 months since Loulan arrived. And I'm like, holy crap, it's only been 6 months from now back to when Loulan first arrived in the show. Like, time is not passing fast in this show. They are definitely taking their time. Very interesting comment that Memo makes here, though. With the rumors of the fact that there's 3 of the 4 consorts pregnant, normally that would be something to celebrate, but at the same time, she finds it a bit ominous. I wonder about that. I kind of curious what she feels about ominous. Yeah, I technically can see that, yes, if there's multiple boys that are born, there's going to be a lot of arguments about which one would actually be the next emperor, which one would be the crown prince. Yes, in a lot of cases, you'd put it on whichever is the eldest, but it can also go based on the mother themselves. And this can cause a lot of conflict. And that could be what Mao Mao means there. There can also be the aspect that, yes, if you do have a boy, no matter what, or multiple boys, there's going to be a lot more open for somebody to want to take them out. That ominous feel. But yes, there's one last rumor, and that's the fact that there's a handsome eunuch. And I like how Xiaolan is just going thirsty mode. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen this girl being so thirsty to see a guy. So it's like, man, he's supposed to be really, really handsome. I want to see them. But it might be eunuch. What does it matter? I don't care. It's all a big goofball. But yes, then bringing up the fact that, yes, they have outlawed for servitude the procedure of actually making the eunuchs, and that, yes, this is something that's still prevalent in other countries. And this could be 30 that was released during a military operation. And yeah, the fact that Shisui knows all this stuff. It just seems like she's just info dumping right here about current things. This is probably not even rumors. This happened recently, and she already knows about it. Girl knows way too much, way too fast. Again, these girls in this palace shouldn't really know much. And again, yeah, you might pick up a lot of rumors. But that specifically, a military operation, that kind of stuff, it's sus. It's very sus. But yeah, they bring up the fact that she hangs around Jinshi a lot. Nope, I just run errands for a consort. It's a frog. It's a frog. It was a frog. Yeah, that's when we spot Lishu is nearby. Apparently she's coming to the bathhouse, but we don't find out why until later on. But yeah, we get a brief moment with the sisters. The sisters, the new lady-in-waitings that are for Gyokyo, the sisters, and apparently the fact that they are questioning Mao Mao specifically. It does note, and I think they mentioned this when they first introduced them, that yes, they are apparently, if I remember correctly, they were from the same hometown as Gyokyo. So I feel like with one of them being so familiar with Gyokyo, like the way they speak her name, they're a lot less formal of it. And with them being so kind of questionable about why she trusts Mao Mao so much, they know that Gyokyo is not trusting, but yet they trust Mao Mao. Why? They're being very suspicious of who Mao Mao specifically is and how she knows her. It does show that a bit of, yes, defensiveness they have for Gyokyo, like they want to protect her, but additionally it does kind of show that aspect of the familiarity there, which is kind of interesting. It does show that these girls probably were very directly connected to her. But no, she just answered the idea of, I'm just a poison taster. I'll die first. Don't worry about it. Just think of it that way. And eventually they get into seemingly wanting to get to know Mao Mao a little bit better. They're specifically pointing out the youngest sister. Now, this is kind of interesting. I'm kind of curious if this is a move by them in order to find out more about Mao Mao. And so they're making up something about having the little sister wanting to know Mao Mao more. It's basically saying, you're making these other servants a little bit lonely because you keep running off with your friends. The new recruits here feel lonely. Like you should pay attention to us more. But then they're pointing specifically to the little sister. So I'm of two minds here. One being the idea they want to know more about Mao Mao, and they're basically acting like the little sister wants to get to know her more, and they're kind of just shoving her out there. Or two, that yes, this girl wants to know Mao Mao. Like she wants a friend, and so they're trying to help their sister out. It kind of feels like it's the latter. It kind of feels like the latter because of just how flustered the sister was. It doesn't seem like she's making on an act. I mean, she could be a great actor, but she's very flustered all the time. But yeah, Mao Mao takes her to the bath. They have some goofy little interactions between them. Get to learn a little bit more about specifically Seki-u, which is the youngest, and the idea that she, takes a lot of pride in modesty. It kind of is questionable the way that she kind of responds here. How this girl seems to be very guarded about herself. Yeah, she does point out the fact that she's from, a desert area, so they don't take baths often. And even with here, she's essentially asking Gyokyo to use the palace bath? ? I don't know, it just seems like she doesn't want to be public about herself. She's very much about modesty. And it seems like a girl like her in her position shouldn't have that control. So it does make me a little bit questionable as to who is this girl? Who is these sisters? What family are they from that she has that option and that she's so closed off there? Because, I mean, Mao Mao's pointing it out, too. Do you have that control? Like, are you able to even claim that? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, they go in there, they start working. And that's when Lishu comes by again with Kanan, her lady-in-waiting. And this is where it gut punches me. I feel so bad for Lishu. My heart breaks for this girl. And so this entire little segment right here is just reminding me of everything that I hate about Lishu's situation. And even getting to even more. Yeah, she falls over. Kanan falls over. It was goofy. But yeah, that's when Mao Mao recalls a lot about her. The fact that she's only 15. She holds this high rank. She doesn't have any... She doesn't have any competent maids. Like, they wouldn't be letting her run around like this and slip and fall like this. But I guess that's a good thing, because if she doesn't have competent maids, then I guess that means that technically nobody will be intimidated by her. It's not like a situation like Loulan where she has a million freaking maids. But yeah, this is interesting. When she brings Lishu over, she finds Lishu, goes to the help. They're immediately afraid of her still. Mao Mao immediately notes the fact that she has a razor burn and decides to bring her over to give her the treatment. Pulls her over there, lays her down, puts her through the whole routine. Again, immediately the moment that she comes there with Lishu, who leaves the scene? Shisui. Immediately pivots and leaves. Now, again, you can claim that she went over there to take care of the other person. There's too many hands here. Mao Mao just came over here again. I don't think so. That seemed way too deliberate that she just walks off the scene. Again, never appears back again. I kept noting it as I watched it after that. I don't recall. I might have missed something. I don't recall a single moment where Shisui was there again. She was over here the entire time. And again, afterwards with the juice, she's not in the scene. I think Shisui is avoiding Lishu because Lishu would recognize her. Very interesting. But yeah, this is when we get more information about Lishu. And this answers a lot of question marks that I had. That yes, Lishu right here, she's not used to this. She's not used to being taken care of like this. And we've seen this with all the scenes with Lishu before. These girls don't take care of her. They use her. They treat her horribly. my heart breaks for this girl. Like, nobody paid attention to her. Emperor's not paying attention to her. And I'm happy about that. It's nice that the actual emperor is not going to her chambers. But they're even implying the idea that he doesn't even drop by. He doesn't pay attention to her. She's just there alone. And I've always been questioning, why is she there then? Why was she even brought back? Again, they get into the fact that, yes, way back here, she was a political tool. She was given to the previous emperor. And they imply that he never touched her, never bed her, which is a great thing because of the age that she was. She was a child. She was a young child then. But at the moment that the last emperor died, she was sent off to become a nun. I don't think they got into that before. She went off to be a nun. Then she recently was reinstated. The new emperor's here. He reinstates her as a consort. Why? Why? That's the massive question mark. The thing that I was kind of concerned about was that, yes, she was with the previous emperor. And the moment that he died, she was sent out of the rear palace. And my fears there was that everybody was going to treat her like she was used goods, basically. She was touched by the emperor. Don't touch her. There's like an aspect of like, don't touch this because it was touched by the emperor, the great emperor. But there's also an aspect of that, again, she's not pure. And with that kind of curse there, maybe possibly the new emperor brought her back in as sort of a way of feeling bad. Like, this is a girl that was damaged goods, not technically, but what people believe, by my father. And I want to bring her in here and give her a place to stay. Otherwise, nobody will touch her. And she'll be left out there in the public as sort of a cursed girl. I'm going to bring her in here and give her a comfortable place to undo what my father did to this girl. But they haven't outright said that. This is implying that she became a nun, which that status of what she was before would lead it to that. The idea of becoming a nun technically does make sense in a lot of cases, in a lot of cultures, but I don't know. There could be a chance that the emperor knew Lishu. I don't think so because, again, it implies that he never visits her. Is she still a political tool? That could be. It could be wherever she's from is important that he needs to have her at his side. It could be that the emperor knows that she could be used as a weapon if she was captured out there, so he decided to bring her in. I don't know. I'm very curious of it. Either way, it's sad. Even Mama's pointing out, her life has been rather unfortunate. Yeah. It's easy to say that she's comfortable and she's sitting in this place and people are supposed to be taking care of her, but they're not. But that's the problem. She's just isolated. And she has nobody that's taking proper care of her. And she's not allowed to just run around and do whatever she wants. She's a prisoner. She's literally a very well-dressed prisoner. And it breaks my heart for the girl from a very young age brought in that palace, put in front of that emperor that was there before. He dies. She's kicked out, becomes a nun, then brought back in to be a prisoner again. It sucks. It's like my heart breaks for the girl. But anyways, that's Lishu. I really so badly. Hopefully next episode we get into some info. Give me something that really gets into why she's there. But anyways, she really likes her little massage and all the clippings and everything. And so Mama offers it to the head lady in waiting. She's like, no, that's all right. And then they go into, why she's there. Why are you here? Gives him some chilled juice and explains that, yes, the palace bath is haunted. There's a ghost there. It's going to be somebody messing with Lishu again. If it's somebody again messing with Lishu, I'm going to be so mad. It could be somebody trying to force her to take the public baths. Maybe somebody is haunting her bath, trying to mess with her so that she uses the public bath. Thus, she is put in a position where she's in danger or something like that. I don't know. It just can't leave this girl alone. That's going to be my thumbnail. Leave Lishu alone. Anyways, I think that's everything in this episode. My gosh, I blabbed way too much about Shisui, but we'll see with that whole situation. But a good episode overall. Some fun moments. I love the whole bath moments and the shampoo and everything. Shisui being a dork. I love Shisui. So if she ends up being Loulan, that would definitely bump up Loulan a lot for me because she's just a fun character. And I do like the idea of somebody like sort of taking on another persona in order to get out what they want. Like here, I'm always stuck here, and here I get to have fun. This is when I get to run around, chase after insects. That's why she likes stupid things like insects. I can just get out and do something. And yeah, it would sort of lead her to want to be out in the middle of nowhere hunting for insects because it gets away from the public where she could be possibly identified. It all kind of lends into that. And I think that, ever since Mamao brought all the consorts in to have a meeting about the books and whatnot, Loulan right there could have became very interested in Mao, and that's why she's acting like Shisui in order to get closer to her. I want to be her friend kind of thing. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below, comment, let me know what's on the episode. Again, if you're a source material reader, I don't need to answer the questions. I'm just having fun speculating. But additionally, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. If you like this content, you want to support the channel more, I have links in the description below. Great, appreciate it. Until next time, y'all take care.